Nelson Mandela Bay in the early morning on a clear, calm autumn day is a wonderful place to be. As the sun rose over the Indian Ocean, dolphins played and walkers soaked up the sunrise. This was the backdrop to one of the most competitive 10-kilometre races for women ever held in South Africa, the SPAR Grand Prix race, Port Elizabeth 2019. One of the strongest fields ever assembled for a 10-kilometre race warmed up next to Beach Road in Summerstrand. All but one of the previous winners of the SPAR Grand Prix was there, and the field included a number of top-class athletes from all over Africa. Local icons including Renee Kalmer and Yvette van Zyl were there, eager to test their mettle against the foreigners. I think we're going to have a great series with a number of international runners. Look like they're going to be turning up, including some Namibians, plenty of Zimbabweans, a couple from up in East Africa. So I think we're going to have a great series. All the top South Africans, of course, focus on this series because it really is the best thing in the country for these women over 10Ks. For the past 3 years, the SPAR Grand Prix has been open to all runners from all countries, and it's made a huge difference to the South African women. They're now facing not only their mates from down the road, but people from around the continent, basically. And it's done wonders for their competition and their sharpness and their speed, and I think it's really good for the local runners as well, even if they don't win everything. The SPAR Grand Prix positions runners on the international stage. The races are very fast, they are well organized, and these girls, if they run fast times, like a 32-minute, for example, they can get into world-class races. There was plenty to run for out there. Being the first race of the six-leg SPAR Grand Prix, the slate was clean, and every point scored today would position the runner going forward. With 6 races lasting until the Johannesburg event in October, every point scored will be valuable. As the leaders sped away, it was Namibian athlete Hilalia Johannes in the green Nedbank colours who immediately set the pace, going out at close to 3 minutes per kilometre and giving the other podium hopefuls an idea of what was to come. This has been the biggest race in Port Elizabeth in terms of numbers for several years, and the backmarkers in the 10-kilometre event took their time, some hoping for a sub-50-minute finish, others just keen to finish comfortably. After the initial shock of the fast start, a group of runners caught up with Johannes. These included Retendo Niahora and Patience Morowi, with Yvette van Zyl out on the far side. The junior in the green T-shirt was an Ethiopian runner, Tadu Teshami, who had never raced before outside her home country. Hilalia Johannes has had a brilliant year.
This year I started well when I ran my personal best time in Nagoya of 2 hours 22.25 seconds in marathon. And second, I ran also and I broke my own record in 2 ocean. That is also my PB because I was having 70-40 something, but there I ran 70, 30 seconds.
2 personal bests so far this year, amazing. Now it was Van Zyl, Morowi and Niahora running with the Namibian. One of the beneficiaries of the SPAR Grand Prix race in PE is SANCCOB, the Institute for the Rehabilitation of Coastal and Seabirds. SPAR Grand Prix patron Mapaseka Makanya went to see what happens at the facility, which is situated at Cape Recife on the southernmost tip of Nelson Mandela Bay. Negative environmental factors are seriously affecting these birds, as Stacey Webb explains.
SANCCOB's core mission is to rescue, rehabilitate and release injured and ill seabirds. We do this so that we can reduce their population decline in the wild. We also educate people about what they can do to help reduce the population decline.
On average, we receive about 400 birds a year, but this year we have seen about 200 birds so far, and we're not even halfway through the year, which means something is wrong out there.
One of their biggest pressures is overfishing. They have too few fish left in the wild for them to get enough food to breed. There's also pollution, of course. One of the cases that stands out for me is a white-chinned petrel that we rescued from the Port Elizabeth harbour. It came in, it just exhibited symptoms of being weak and underweight, so we started putting it through the rehab process. We looked after it for a full month, and it started to improve and then had a sudden decline. And when the autopsy was performed, its belly was full of plastic.
Seabirds and other sea animals, they eat plastics thinking it's food, and then they digest it, and then the plastic blocks them from being able to digest the food, and that leads to starvation, and maybe they get infections. And they also get entangled on plastics, and that leads to drowning and also starvation. Our funding comes from our sponsors like SPAR, and we also get small incomes through our events that we run, and also through the school groups and tours and visitors that comes to our center.
We have a common goal. We're also educating people about plastic pollution. SPAR started a magnificent campaign to stop plastic, and we're very proud to be working with them now in education and stopping the plastic pollution issue.
We try by all means to educate people to stop using plastic and start using paper bags, and to also recycle, and also with lots of bins where people, they don't just throw anything away, they can just put it in recycle bins. As SANCCOB will continue building awareness about plastic pollution. If you want to get involved with SANCCOB, there are so many things that one can do. If you want to volunteer, you can always contact us. You can find us on social media. SANCCOB ECU on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And also, if you see an old or injured bird, you can also contact us on our number 041-583-1830.
We'll be back with SPAR Grand Prix action from Port Elizabeth right after this break. Welcome back to the SPAR Grand Prix race in Port Elizabeth, where the leaders were now approaching the 3-kilometre mark. The lead group had thinned down to 4 runners: Hilalia Johannes, Yvette van Sail, Patience Marawi, and Ethiopian junior Tadu Tishami. The pace was relentless, forcing international class runners to drop back. In the wake of the leading 4 were the likes of Betha Chikanga, Janet Mbeshle, Ketha Molitsani, Annie Botma, Zintle Ziniwe, and a dozen other podium hopefuls. Hilalia Johannes was controlling things up front.
I decided to move faster from at the 3 kilometers to go, because I wanted to beat my own time. Because as I checked my watch, I was a bit far with the time that I want to achieve. I'm happy for my performance, and I'm also happy for the sponsor, for the event SPAR, and all the sponsor that is in the management for the event.
Back at Pollock Beach, the masses lined up for the much more relaxed 5-kilometre race. Everyone knows that Port Elizabeth weather can range from unhelpful to downright awful. But today these people were blessed with near perfect conditions. Warm air with hardly any wind. In fact, these were dream conditions. Most of these women were happy just to walk their 5 kilometres, unlike the professionals who are now into sub-3-minute kilometre mode up front. So fast was the pace being set by Johannes that only one runner, Tishami, could match it. Turning out of 2nd Avenue into Strandfontein Drive, with 6 kilometres to go, it was becoming a 2-horse race, with Yvette now 50 metres back. The long straight stretch along Strandfontein had the runners going into a slight headwind, but Johannes powered along with a small figure of Tishami in tow. Further back, a move was being made by 2017 SPAR Grand Prix winner Ketha Molitsani, who had not featured at all early on in the race. Ketha was now past Yvette and into 3rd spot. But Van Sail is a tough, gutsy competitor. The 3-time SPAR Grand Prix winner was coming off a massive 56-kilometre race in the Two Oceans Marathon just 14 days previously. Now in 3rd place, Ketha Molitsani explained her tactics on the day.
I started really far behind, I must say. I started very slow. I started my races just so I can be, in a good position by the time I reached the halfway mark. And I only started moving from the 4th K onwards, and I started working on improving my times. Let's just say maybe I have worked towards improvements in my training and in my fitness as well, because I pretty much ran my own race. I never ran with the bunch since from the word go. So I think everything lies in my fitness.
The last 3 kilometres were super fast. The downhill section to Beach Road was followed by the flat run to the finish. Today's performance by Tashami was brilliant as she held her pace with only the world class of Johannes ahead of her. And do not forget the thousands of walkers and joggers in the 5-kilometre race. These ladies were out there for the fun, fitness and friendship of the occasion. Not so Hilaria Johannes, now cruising down Beach Road to the finish all by herself at 3 minutes per kilometre, and she was loving it.
The atmosphere was very nice because the city itself is also beautiful with the lovely people. I really enjoyed it. I will be coming back, even though I don't know how many SPAR radius am I going to run from now, but it will depend what is in my program.
As one of the top 40 women in the world on the road, we'll see how many more SPAR Grand Prix races she'll run this year. Time now to visit Bayworld, another SPAR beneficiary. Bayworld has been a Port Elizabeth landmark for decades. Situated on Beach Road, it focuses on the rehabilitation of sea animals like seals and turtles.
The marine side of Bayworld has been around for almost 60 years now. It was in 1959 when they built the museum at its current site, and they actually built the shark tank. And that's basically when the oceanarium actually started doing business, so to speak. We are one of the only museums in the country that actually has a dedicated registered museum school, staffed with teachers and a principal. We get about 120,000 school kids per year coming through our doors, and we've been sustaining that rate for at least the past 30 years. We're one of the main facilities in the country that deals with seal rehabilitation. The animals come in with all sorts of different types of injuries. Very common to get them coming in with plastic entanglement or plastic ingestion. That's a very common issue that we have. And in December of every year, we also get a couple of animals that actually wash up, young seal pups that actually wash off the islands that we care for, and then we actually go and put back onto the islands afterwards. We've been receiving stranded turtles for many, many, many years. We've been doing sea turtle rehabilitation for over 40 years. We get primarily loggerhead turtles, green turtles, and sometimes hawksbill turtles that come down the coastline. They come in with all sorts of different problems. Again, plastic entanglement is a very, very common, and plastic ingestion is very common with turtles. They don't really see the difference between, say, a plastic bag and a jellyfish. They see it as the same thing. The plastic pollution issue is definitely getting worse. The amount of pollution that is entering into the oceans is escalating every single year, and we're seeing those effects with the animals that are stranding on the beaches. The SPAR has been an absolutely fantastic help to us. We run with very, very limited funds. We rely on a subsidy from the government as well as our gate takings, but it very rarely makes ends meet. SPAR has come on board and really assisted us in that regard. One of the reasons why we really got involved with SPAR was their campaign to ban plastic bags in shopping centres, and that caught our attention. And we actually got together with SPAR and said we want to assist them as much as possible in this campaign. SPAR has shown some of the most amazing dedication to this campaign, and in return SPAR has assisted us with our rehabilitation programs. They really have been an absolutely fantastic help. We join them on various outreach programs, some of the campaigns that they do, such as the races, the golf days, and we always join them there, and we set up a stand so we can educate people on the effects of plastic pollution in the ocean to try and help them further their campaign with stopping the use of single-use plastic bags.
And we'll be back with the finish of the race right after this break. Back now to the SPAR race in Port Elizabeth, and Hilaria Johannes, the Namibian record holder over 3 distances, was now into the final 300 metres and way ahead of the second runner. It has been many years since a woman ran under 32 minutes in South Africa, so this run by her was literally making history. and she beat an international class field by more than 30 seconds.
Under 32 minutes today.
It was a good event because it was having a competitive. It is a competitive event because if I could be alone, I could not run like this, because it is always good when you are having your colleagues that are pushing with you, so that you can also run away. Actually, they also did their best today. I'm happy for this competition.
Equally brilliant was Ethiopian junior Tadu Teshami, who also ran alone towards the end. Her time of 32:37 was the fastest ever in the country by a junior, and truly world class. She spoke to us through an interpreter.
ውድድሩ በጣም ፈጣኝ ነው እና ጥሩ ነው። እንደ አየር ሁኔታ ሳስብ በጣም ጥሩ ሆኗል። ወንድ ጋር ተቀላቅዬ ሮጫ አላቅም፣ ከሴቶች ጋር ነው መጀመሪያ ጊዜ ነው እና ከዚህ በኋላ እንደዚህ እየሮጥኩ ከዛ ጥሩ ይሮጣል ብዬ ነው ማስበው።
It was a different world out there for the slower ladies. Walking a 5-kilometre event was an achievement for many of them. And there was a fair sprinkling of children, both walking and in pushchairs, to keep them company. In the main race, defending champion and 2017 SPAR Grand Prix winner Kesa Molitsani of Murray and Roberts came through strongly in the second half of the race to move into third spot. Even though she couldn't repeat her 2018 win, she was happy after her run.
I am really, really happy with my first SPAR Women's Challenge race. It was the first one really, and I didn't expect to run that fast. I came here with just a plan just to see how far am I in terms of fitness, and everything worked out really well, and I'm really happy with my third position as well. It's a good move. It's a start. It's a good start for me as well. Life in Bloom is very nice, I must say. It's a new year, everything is new. I have a new team, I have a new training group. Everything is just new, and I think it's good that I am just back here in Bloom training, working towards a lot of new stuff, studying something new, and same old job, but I'm really happy with me staying in Bloemfontein.
Johannes ran the fastest time in the country for more than 15 years. For the first time ever, 7 runners broke 34 minutes, 14 broke 35, and no fewer than 37 came home under 40 minutes. Molitsani and Fonsail were the top South Africans, with defending SPAR Grand Prix winner Glenrose Zaba in 9th. Teshami Naru was completely brilliant as first junior, while Bolewa Samai, Grace de Oliveira and Margie Saunders took the other age group wins. After one race, Johannes leads the SPAR Grand Prix table with 30 points. Betha Chikonga edged out Yvette Fonsail for 4th place. Patience Morowi finished 8th ahead of Glenrose Zaba, whose defence of her SPAR Grand Prix title got off to a somewhat shaky start. But there are, of course, still 5 races to go. SPAR Eastern Cape's Alan Stapleton was all smiles afterwards.
Beautiful. The weather played ball, and it's wonderful to have the race as the first part of the Grand Prix Challenge, and what a race. I mean, having the international athletes with us, and such a array of top athletes, it was really good, and I think it brought out the best in all the athletes, and a wonderful time, great spirits. It was very, very happy to have 8,000 ladies celebrating the beauty, the power, the joy of women, of being women, and the camaraderie and the friendliness and the fun that everybody has out there. It's just a wonderful event, really, really super.
As the race wound down, the emphasis shifted to SPAR's passion for reducing plastic waste. We visited the SANCCOB's Conservancy to see the program in action.
Our biggest problem is pollution, and it's all the time litter pollution. Unfortunately, people have bad habits. They don't realise that their plastic, for example, breaks up into little bits and becomes microplastic. And then, of course, it gets in the bodies of the fish, and then we catch the fish. And so it gets in our bodies. We certainly are keeping the banks of the SANCCOBs much cleaner than they were. And for that we are so grateful to SPAR, because SPAR has helped us to make people aware of this problem of plastic pollution. There's just too much plastic around and it's not necessary.
We launched a Stop Plastic campaign in last year, around about April, and it went fantastically well. We sold 3 million less plastic bags than the past, and now this year we're just going into phase 2 of it, and we're going to relaunch it, and just to create this wave of awareness of asking people to come along with us and to think about how they use plastic and how to recycle plastic. So it's one of those things that we should all be doing, and we're very proud to be part of that, and to use the Women's Challenge as a way to leverage that whole message to 10,000 people.
With the band Genesis rocking the stage, it was time for the charity handover, with 100,000 Rand going to Sanitary Sisters, who provide underprivileged girls with sanitary protection. The top 10 runners have set the stage for a brilliant 2019 SPAR Grand Prix. And we can't wait for the next race at Greenpoint in Cape Town on Sunday, May 26. See you there.